Have you ever noticed how your brain can turn a tiny problem into a complete disaster in less than 5 minutes? A friend replies a little differently than usual. Suddenly your mind starts racing. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? Did I say something weird? And before anything even happens, your brain already creates an entire worst-case scenario. But here's the strange part. Most of the things humans worry about never actually happen. So why does the brain constantly create negative possibilities? Because your mind was never designed to make you calm. It was designed to prepare you for danger. Thousands of years ago, this ability helped humans survive. Imagine hearing movement outside your shelter late at night. If your brain assumed it's probably nothing, and you were wrong, you might not survive. But if your brain assumed danger immediately, your chances of survival increased. So over time, the human brain evolved to predict threats before they happened. The problem is that modern humans still use the same ancient survival system, even when the danger is emotional instead of physical. A delayed text message, an awkward silence, a strange look from someone, a mistake at work, being left out socially. Your brain treats uncertainty like potential danger. And uncertainty is something the human mind absolutely hates, because uncertainty removes control. The brain wants answers. It wants certainty, prediction, safety. And when it doesn't have those things, it starts filling the gaps itself, usually with negative assumptions. Psychologists sometimes call this catastrophizing. The brain automatically jumps toward worst-case scenarios, because worst-case scenarios feel safer to prepare for. If nothing bad happens, great. But if something bad does happen, the brain wants to feel ready. The strange thing is that your mind often believes imagined danger before reality even confirms it. This is why anxiety feels so real. Your body reacts to imagined threats almost like they're actually happening. Your heart rate changes, your breathing shifts, your muscles tighten. Even if you're just lying in bed thinking. Because the nervous system responds more to perceived danger than objective reality, and the imagination is powerful enough to trigger that response. That's why humans can create stress from situations that don't even exist yet. An upcoming conversation, a future embarrassment, a possible rejection. The brain simulates painful futures in an attempt to protect itself. But ironically, this protection system often becomes the thing causing the suffering. Because eventually, people stop reacting to reality. They start reacting to imagined reality. And modern life makes this far worse. Social media gives the brain endless opportunities to compare, predict, and overanalyze. Someone doesn't like your post? Your brain notices. Someone leaves your message unread. Your brain notices. Someone looks happier than you online. Your brain notices that too. The human mind constantly scans for signs of social danger because social survival has always mattered deeply to humans. For most of history, rejection from the group could be deadly. So humans evolved to become hyper-aware of social signals. And today, that same survival system gets activated hundreds of times a day through screens. That's why even tiny online interactions can affect mood so strongly. Your brain interprets them emotionally before you analyze them logically. And once the emotional reaction begins, the mind starts creating stories around it. She probably hates me. I'm falling behind in life. They're judging me. I always ruin things. Most people don't realize how much suffering comes not from reality itself, but from the interpretation of reality. Two people can experience the exact same situation and react completely differently. One person sees failure and thinks, "My life is over." Another thinks, "That sucked, but I'll recover." The event is the same. The interpretation changes the emotional experience completely, and your brain's interpretation is heavily influenced by what it expects. This is important because expectations quietly shape perception. If someone expects rejection, they notice rejection everywhere. If someone expects judgment, neutral situations suddenly feel threatening. If someone expects failure, every mistake feels like proof. The brain constantly searches for evidence supporting its existing beliefs. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Humans naturally notice information that reinforces what they already fear. That's why insecure people often unintentionally collect evidence supporting their insecurity. They ignore positive signals and hyperfocus on negative ones. One compliment gets dismissed, one criticism becomes unforgettable. The brain protects existing beliefs because familiarity feels safe, even when those beliefs are painful. And this is one reason anxiety becomes so exhausting. An anxious brain never fully relaxes. It constantly scans the environment for problems. What if something goes wrong? What if they leave? What if I fail? What if people judge me? The mind treats possibility as probability. And over time, imagined danger starts feeling completely real. This is also why humans overthink most at night. During the day, distractions keep the brain occupied, but at night, stimulation disappears, silence arrives, and suddenly unresolved thoughts become louder. The brain starts replaying conversations, mistakes, regrets, future fears. Without distraction, the mind returns to unfinished emotional loops. And because humans naturally focus more on negative possibilities than positive ones, nighttime thinking often becomes emotionally distorted. Everything feels more catastrophic at 2 a.m. Small problems suddenly feel life-destroying. That's because exhausted brains process emotions differently. When people are tired, stressed, lonely, or overwhelmed, the brain becomes even more threat-sensitive. And unfortunately, most people assume, if I feel something strongly, it must be true. But emotions are not always reliable reflections of reality. Sometimes they are simply temporary nervous system states. Fear does not automatically mean danger. Insecurity does not automatically mean failure. Anxiety does not automatically mean disaster. The human brain is a prediction machine, and prediction machines make mistakes constantly. This realization changes the way people experience their thoughts, because once you understand that the brain naturally creates negative possibilities, you stop treating every thought like a warning message. You begin observing thoughts instead of obeying them instantly. That creates psychological distance, and distance is powerful. Without distance, people become trapped inside every emotion their brain creates. One anxious thought ruins an entire day. One awkward interaction becomes a week-long obsession. One uncertainty spirals into mental chaos. But awareness interrupts the spiral. Instead of, "This is definitely happening," it becomes, "My brain is predicting danger right now." That small shift changes everything, because now you are observing the thought instead of becoming consumed by it. And strangely enough, most fears lose power when fully observed. The brain thrives in uncertainty and imagination. But when people calmly examine their thoughts logically, many imagined catastrophes immediately start falling apart. How likely is this, actually? Do I have real evidence? Am I reacting to facts or fear? Those questions weaken emotional exaggeration. And emotional exaggeration is something the human brain does constantly. Not because humans are weak, but because survival brains are dramatic. To the nervous system, overreacting to danger was safer than underreacting. So the brain evolved to prioritize caution over calmness. That's why people often remember embarrassing moments for years, even though everyone else forgot them days later. That's why humans replay awkward conversations in the shower. That's why people create fake arguments in their heads while trying to sleep. The brain keeps rehearsing possible threats to maintain a sense of control. But complete control does not exist. And learning to tolerate uncertainty is one of the most important psychological skills a person can develop. Because peace does not come from predicting every possible problem. Peace comes from realizing you can handle uncertainty without mentally destroying yourself first. Emotionally strong people are not people who never experience negative thoughts. They absolutely do. The difference is that they don't automatically believe every fear their mind produces. They understand something most people never fully realize. The brain's first job is survival. not happiness, not peace, not confidence. And once you truly understand that, you stop panicking every time your mind creates a scary story. You realize your brain is simply trying to protect you, even when there's nothing dangerous happening at all.